Hello and welcome to The Broke Guitarist. My name is TK and I'm going to take you through a series of lessons that are completely free and really give you all of the resources in one spot to help you become a guitarist or a better guitarist. Now there's a lot of resources on YouTube and a lot of really cool free content for guitarists. However, a lot of those are, join my Patreon or sign up for my website course and a lot of those. There's nothing wrong with those at all. Like I said, there's a lot of really good teachers and a lot of good content out there. However, I have not found a place that's completely free. Every single part, all the tabs, different products even are free. So my goal for the channel is to provide a completely free platform through YouTube and then also through my website for everything that you could possibly need to get started with guitar. You're going to learn about the guitar, and if you already play guitar and you're kind of at the beginner to intermediate level, this will really help kind of fine-tune your skills and your knowledge about the guitar in general. With The Broke Guitarist, or if you go to thebrokeguitarist.com, a really cool thing about it is every piece of documentation, all the lesson material, everything is completely free. It's none of this, check out stuff or join my Patreon. It's completely free. You can download it. You can, load it in if you have a tab program like Guitar Pro, or if you have a DAW or something like that. You can throw it in there. You can manipulate it, change it. I'm going to be adding backing tracks, a metronome resource, all that kind of good stuff. I want it to be easy. I didn't have a whole lot of money growing up. I couldn't afford guitar lessons. I want to change all of that, make it available for everyone. Now, one part about my channel is 100% of all net profits are going to go to the subscriber. So please make sure that you subscribe and like the video. I know YouTube has some rules about how many you can actually, viewable hours and number of subscribers that you have to get in order to start advertising on the platform and bringing in income. So I'm hoping to get there. I'm hoping that you will help because, like I said, 100% of all of my net profits are going to go back to you in the form of gear, guitars, music stands, everything, amps, pedals, all of that good stuff. So let's get started with the guitar. We're going to just warm up with some super basics. I'm assuming that you don't know a whole lot about the guitar. We're going to name the notes of the strings and then go into our very first lesson. All right, let's get started with the names of the strings. So starting out, we have an E, an A, a D, a G, a B, and an E. Now the way that the strings are numbered, if you see that in tab, which we'll get into in a little bit, is the lowest pitch, which is an E in the standard tuning. This is the 6th string. And then we have the 5th string, the 4th string, the 3rd string, the 2nd string, and the highest pitch string, which is a high E, is known as the 1st string. So it's a little bit different to get your head wrapped around it because normally you think 1 being up here. Nope, it's actually the 6th string. So that's going to be important. And then the way that you can remember the names of the strings in standard tuning, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can tune your guitar, but in standard tuning, which is the most common, there's a couple, acronyms, or different mnemonic devices to help you remember the name or the actual strings. So here's a common one: Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. So that's one. There's other common ones like elephants and donkeys grow big ears. Every amateur does better eventually. What I would encourage you for the first part of this lesson is come up with your own. It doesn't have to be great, but usually if you come up with it on your own, it's something that will stick in your head. So if you do come up with your own, please put it as a comment below. I would love to hear it. I'm always interested in new ones and cool things that people come up with. So please do that. All right, now we're going to get into tab. Why is tab so important? Tab is important and you're going to see all of this, all the diagrams and everything. Also, it's on my website, thebrokeguitarist.com, and you can find it under lesson E001. All of this information is there, and it's a little bit of an easier format to follow because you have everything right in front of you. So tab is super important because it provides a way to show the guitarist or the musician on fretted or stringed instruments exactly where their finger goes on which string. The problem with standard notation or standard music notation, which is made for other instruments like the piano, is on a guitar, for example, you can play the exact same notes in a whole bunch of different ways, and that can be really confusing, especially if you're a beginner. For example, if we're talking about the G scale, the G major scale in particular, here's an example. It's all the same notes, but where I'm playing it is completely different. So the pitches are the same, the tone may be a little bit different based on the string gauges, but they're the same notes and the same pitches. Here's an example. That same thing can be played right here. And that can be played down here. And that can even be played a little bit lower. So you see, the same thing played 4 different places on the neck. It can be really confusing, but with tab, you don't have to worry about any of that. It'll tell you exactly where to put your fingers. And later, as you gain more experience and get better at guitar, you can actually move that all around the neck. If you know it's a G down here, then you know you can play a G here, or here, or here. It's really, really cool. Guitar is such a fascinating instrument. All right, now it's time to really get into the meat and the potatoes of the very first lesson. It may seem a little bit boring or basic, but trust me, this one lesson is going to expand on other lessons, and all of a sudden it's going to be like an awakening. You're going to just know a lot of things about guitar that even some seasoned guitarists don't necessarily know. And it will kind of put the puzzle pieces together and make you a much better guitarist. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the C major scale. And there's a reason that I'm picking C major, and we'll get into that a little bit later in another video. But for the C major scale, it's really easy to memorize the notes. And those notes in this example are going to be C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So you might kind of see a pattern. It's like the alphabet. That's exactly what it is the alphabet. Now, one of the reasons that I picked the C major scale is because it doesn't have any sharps or flats or anything like that. We'll get into that later, but not right now. The important thing is, it's kind of at the most basic level. We're going to start with C and go all through the alphabet, and once we hit G, it repeats back to A. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C to make an octave, which is 8. So, but that's from a lower note to the same note, but at a higher pitch. So we're going to go ahead and play the C major scale. So the way that I would like you to start is down here on the 5th string. This is the 5th string, and remember, it's the second from the top because it's the 6th string and then the 5th string. So the 5th string, and then we're going to start at the 3rd fret, which is this one right here. So this is the 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd. So what we're going to do is we're going to just play starting with your middle finger, and this is actually finger 2. The way that finger numbering goes in tab, for example, is this is your 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, 4th finger. The thumb is a thumb. All right, so we just have the 4, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So we're going to put the 2nd finger on the C, which is right here. Again, it's not important if you know what all these notes are. You're going to learn that. That's going to be super cool. And we're going to start with the C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. C. Now remember, the first note was a C. So we started right here, and then we ended right here. And if you hear that, they sound super similar, right? Because they're the same note, they're just played at two different pitches. So it's really, really cool. So that's all that I want you to start out with, is that part. And I have all the tabs. I show you where to put all of your fingers and which finger to put where. But one thing that I want you to do while you're playing the C major scale is to say the names of the notes while you're playing it. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And what that allows you to do is kind of commit to memory where those are. And don't be afraid to look at your fingers. You know, some guitarists are like, no, never look at your fingers. Look at the camera or look at someone else or something like that. No, it's important, especially when you're beginning, to look at what your fingers are doing. You know, not everybody is born with a guitar in their hand or some crazy virtuoso who just can pick up an instrument and start playing it like crazy. It's important to know what these notes are on the fretboard, because later on it becomes super useful. For example, going back to the G major scale. Let's say if the fingering at one spot on the guitar is really hard for a song or a solo, you can change that around. And if you know where the notes are, it's super easy to do. So again, we're going to do the C major scale. And then I want you to play that, and you can go down 2. And that's it. Now, once you kind of have that down, you can pick it however you want. But as you get used to it, and your left hand kind of starts feeling what you're supposed to do, that's where your picking hand, or your right hand, if you're a right-handed guitarist, it's the opposite if you're a left-handed guitarist, but the picking hand is going to start doing some things different when the fingering hand knows what it's doing. So, with your picking hand, I want you to try a few different things. And they may not be practical in like live guitar situations, but for practice, it's extremely practical because you get used to that feel and that technique. So why don't you start out with down picking, for example. Down picking is where you just go down. Okay, so we're going to down pick the whole thing. Down, 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 down. See, just down picking. The next thing is up picking. It's going to feel really weird, and for most, more intermediate guitarists, they don't just up pick. It's a very weird technique, but it's important to try it just to know how it feels. So go ahead and up pick the whole thing. So that's going up like this. So up, 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 up. That's it. Now, there's something called alternate picking, or economy, and also economy picking. They're a little similar, but yet they're a little different. So alternate picking is when you go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Economy picking is kind of a way to optimize your movements as you're playing. So instead of going like, in this case, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Let's try that again. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. With economy picking, you can play it a little bit differently that makes more sense to how you play. So for example, we go down, up, down, up, down, but then down, up, down. So that way, it kind of slides into the next note. Instead of going down, down on one note, and then up on the next one, you're actually going to go down and down. It just makes it a little easier. So if you play it a little faster, it sounds like this. To me, that's a really natural way to play it, and it's very easy. As you get used to it, you're going to kind of find a picking method that works well for you. And there are some that are better than others. that is true. That puts a little less strain on your wrist or on your picking arm. But it's important that you get a feel of the way that you like to play, because that's going to change everything. For example, metal guitarist is going to play very different than a jazz guitarist might. So that's where we're going to start. Once you kind of have it down on this 3rd fret, then I'm going to have you play the other C, which is right here. So this C is on the 6th string at the 8th fret. So if you count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're going to start, it's the exact same shape. So you're going to start with your 2nd finger, which is your middle finger, and play the same thing. And then you can play it down. And that's going to help out a lot too. And again, say the notes while you're playing, and then see if you can recognize any connections. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Oh, there's a C, there's a C, and there's a C, there's a C. Now you can do that with all the other notes. So for example, D, you're like, I know where the D is. Right there, right? C, D, and that's right where this is, C, D. So here's a D, here's a D. You're going to start connecting the fretboard, and everything is going to make so much more sense. So that's what I want you to start on. Remember the different types of picking, and then in both positions. Make sure to say the names of the notes that you're playing, and concentrate on where they are on the fretboard. So if somebody's like, play a C, you can be like, oh, C. And that's going to be really useful when we get into chords and some other things. So like, that's going to be useful. Or you're like, hey, that's a C. I know that I can also play a C up here with a different chord voicing. So anyway, that's enough to get you started. And I'm going to have metronome tracks. It's important to play with a metronome if you can. First, just kind of warm up, get used to playing just the notes. And then you're going to want to put it to a metronome, because that's going to really tell you where, if you're struggling with a fingering position or something else, where you need help. Always practice with a metronome. I do it too. Yes, it's kind of a pain, and after a while you get super annoyed of click, 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 click. But I will also include some drum tracks. The drum tracks, yeah, they're not super great, but they're better than just a click. Anyway, do practice with both if you can. You can get a metronome app on your phone. There's a ton of free ones, but they're really good. They kind of keep you honest as a musician. All right, so the next part is the fun part. Again, I'm the broke guitarist. Yes, I may not have a ton of money, and I don't make money from guitar because everything that I do is completely free here on YouTube and also on my website. But even though this isn't monetized yet, I have a good job, and I have extra, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that, even guitar picks can be a pain. So I'm starting out kind of small, but it's a completely free giveaway to anyone who's a subscriber. All you need to do is please like the channel and subscribe, and I'm going to give you some guitar picks. So on just this first one, just 5 guitar picks that I'm going to be giving away. These are brand new guitar picks, but they're pretty cool. So the first one that we have is this Ernie Ball glow-in-the-dark pick. So this is actually really cool. You hold it up to a light, just kind of like the old glow-in-the-dark stickers and stuff, and it stays lit for a pretty long time. It helps if you're playing in the dark or in a dimly lit room. Yes, I may not admit to everything, but there have been some nights when I was younger, I would play, guitar, try to jam, do some fun stuff when I was supposed to be sleeping. So anyway, glow-in-the-dark guitar picks are pretty cool. This one is a medium, and it's just really cool. All right, the next one that I have is a hex pick. This is by Clayton Picks. They kind of do a lot of custom and more unusual picks. This one is actually really cool. It does have a more pointed end, and this one is a 1mm pick. It is fun because you can kind of hold on to that and kind of figure out your orientation and how you like to hold your pick. There's a whole lot of different methods on holding guitar picks, and it's really kind of crazy. You can look at a lot of guitarists, and the way that they hold their pick is different on almost every guitarist. But it's important to kind of learn a little bit about the different ways to hold a guitar pick, and I can make a video about that if that's something that you'd be interested in. But these are pretty cool. I'm going to be giving away 3 of these, of this Ernie Ball glow in the dark. There's going to be 1 that I'm going to be giving away first. 3 of these bad boys. And then we have a Kirk Hammett signature. This is a Jazz 3 by Dunlop. Pretty cool pick. This is the kind that he plays with. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. This is his signature pick, and there is, you know, kind of his initials or signature on the back. So this is a kind of cool guitar pick as well. He likes it. You know, he's a pretty fast player. Very cool guitar pick. Anyway, I have 1 of those. So I'm going to be giving away 5 guitar picks. You don't need to do anything. I do want to note that I don't have any social media accounts. I don't do Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of that stuff. I'm on YouTube and my website. That's it. So if you get anything on those other sites or on here that goes back to somebody else's account, it's not me. You won't get any free things. You might get scammed for free, but all mine's completely free. I pay shipping, all that good stuff. The way that you can get that is you have to like and subscribe, and then also go on to this lesson. It's going to be linked down in the description. But there's just a little form that you need to fill out as like your name and email so I can get in contact with you. The way that I do that is I haven't figured out a really good way to be able to verify the person who commented, and that is one of the things that you need to do. You have to like, subscribe, and comment. That way I can tell that you are a real person and not some crazy bot that's just trying to get free stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. Please stay tuned for more. I'm really excited to give away a lot of cool things like guitars. Yep, going to be giving away guitars, amplifiers, pedals, amp heads, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.